The first thing Captain Elias Barr noticed was how quiet the stars felt in this sector. Not silent. Space was never truly silent, but empty. The kind of emptiness that made even seasoned explorers uneasy. No radio chatter. No trade routes. No debris fields. Just a stretch of forgotten space tucked between collapsing empires and dead civilizations. Scans still reading life signs? Elias asked, his voice steady but low. Behind him, Lieutenant Aaron tapped at the console, frowning. Yes, Captain.
Weak.
Barely registering. But they're clustered. Clustered. Like they're all in one place.
Tight.
Elias leaned forward. Pull-up visual. The main screen flickered, then stabilized. A planet filled the display.
Gray.
Not lifeless, but wounded. Vast scars ran across its surface, like something had torn it apart and then left it to bleed slowly into the void. Atmosphere thin. Oceans reduced to scattered black patches. Storm systems weak and irregular. But there, near the equator, a faint glow. Civilization. Or what remained of one. Elias exhaled. Bring us into orbit. A dying world. The closer they got, the worse it looked. Cities had collapsed into skeletal ruins. Infrastructure was broken. Entire regions showed signs of orbital bombardment. Whatever war had happened here, it hadn't ended cleanly. It had ended with abandonment. Captain, Aaron said quietly, I'm detecting no active defenses. No satellites. No ships. No one left to protect themselves, Elias muttered. Or no one left who can. There was a pause. Then another officer spoke. We're receiving a signal. Elias turned sharply. Audio. The signal crackled to life, distorted, weak, barely holding together. Anyone, please? The voice was not human. It was softer, layered, almost harmonic, like multiple tones speaking as one. We offer anything, please. The bridge fell silent. Just don't let us disappear. Elias clenched his jaw. Source? Surface. That central cluster. He didn't hesitate. Prepare a landing team. The last of them. The shuttle descended through a fragile atmosphere, buffeted by thin winds and electrical interference. Elias stood at the front, watching the ruined world rise to meet them. Burned plains, cracked cities, towers leaning like broken teeth. And then, the glow. A dome. Faint, flickering, barely sustained. They landed just outside it. The moment the ramp lowered, Elias felt it. Heat, but not temperature. Presence. Like standing inside someone's breath.
Stay alert, he said.
The team stepped forward. The dome shimmered as they approached, then parted, like it recognized them. Inside, everything changed.
Green. Soft. Alive.
It wasn't much, a few square kilometers of preserved land, but compared to the dead world outside, it felt like stepping into a memory of life itself. And in the center, they were waiting.
Tall.
Slender. Skin like translucent glass, faint light pulsing beneath it. Their eyes, large, luminous, held a depth that was almost painful to meet. There were dozens of them.
No.
Hundreds. All gathered. All silent. Watching. One stepped forward. Smaller than the others. Weaker. Elias instinctively knew. She was their leader. Or maybe just the last one still strong enough to stand. She spoke. Not with her mouth. Directly into their minds. You came. Elias nodded slowly. We heard your signal. Her light flickered faintly. We did not think anyone would answer. Behind her, the others shifted. Barely, but Elias could feel it.
Hope.
Fragile. Dangerous. He stepped forward. What happened here? The answer came slowly. We were too late. Images flooded his mind.
War.
Not theirs. Invaders. Machines. Weapons. A species that didn't conquer, they erased. The aliens these beings had tried to fight. Tried to protect their world. But they weren't built for war. They were something else. Something gentle. And that had nearly killed them. We survived, she said. But the world did not. Elias looked around. And this dome. All we have left. The offer. There was a long silence. Elias knew what came next. He'd seen it before. Not like this, but similar. The desperate always reached the same conclusion. What do you want from us? He asked quietly. The being stepped closer. Her light dimmed, then flared weakly. We have nothing left to trade. Elias said nothing. No resources. No fleets. No knowledge your kind would value. Her voice faltered. Only ourselves. The words hung in the air. Even without understanding their biology fully, Elias understood the meaning. Servitude. Bondage. Submission. Whatever form it took for their species, it was the same offer humanity had seen across the stars.
Take us.
Use us. Just let us survive. Behind her, the others lowered their heads. Elias felt something twist inside him. Stand down, one of his officers whispered. Captain, this could be. I know what it is, Elias said quietly. He looked at her. Really looked. Not as an alien. Not as an opportunity. But as a person. How many of you are left? He asked. 812. And the planet? A pause. Dying. Elias nodded slowly. Then he did something none of them expected. He stepped closer. Close enough to reach out. Close enough to touch.
And gently.
He placed his hand against her glowing form. She froze. The entire dome went still. Humans didn't do that. Not with unknown species. Not without protection. But Elias didn't hesitate. You're not currency, he said softly. Her light flickered violently. Then what are we? Elias smiled faintly.
People.
The decision. Back on the ship, the debate was immediate. And fierce. We can't take them, one officer argued. We don't have the capacity. They'll die if we leave, another countered. We don't even know if they're safe. Elias stood at the center of it all, silent. Listening. Calculating. Feeling. Finally, he raised his hand. The room went quiet. We're not leaving them here. That's not protocol. Protocol doesn't cover extinction, Elias snapped. Silence. He took a breath. Then spoke more calmly. We have options. Not enough, Aaron said. Even if we take them aboard, it's temporary. We don't have a planet to give them. Elias turned toward the viewport. Stars stretched endlessly before them. Human space was far. Resources were limited.
But
he smiled slightly. We don't need to give them a planet. The crew frowned. Elias looked back. We build them one. A human promise. It started as a risk, then became a mission, then a purpose. The ship sent out a wideband signal across human-controlled space. A simple message. Species on brink of extinction. Non-hostile. Requesting aid. At first, nothing. Then, one response. Then, two. Then dozens. Cargo ships. Engineering vessels. Terraforming rigs. Even civilian volunteers. Humanity had seen suffering before. But this was something else. Within weeks, a fleet gathered. Not military. Not conquest. Creation. Elias stood on the bridge as the first phase began. Asteroid redirection. Atmospheric seeding. Orbital stabilization. It wasn't fast. It wasn't easy. But humans had one trait the galaxy never quite understood. They didn't quit learning each other. While the work continued, the survivors lived aboard human ships. At first, there was fear,
distance,
misunderstanding. But slowly, that changed. The aliens learned human language. Humans learned to interpret their harmonic thoughts. Children, human and alien, were the first to bridge the gap. They always were. Elias often found the leader, the one who first spoke to him, watching them. Her light was still weak, but steadier now. "You saved us," she said one day. Elias shook his head. "Not yet." She tilted her head slightly.
"Why?"
He considered the question, then answered honestly. "Because no one deserves to disappear." Her glow pulsed softly. "Even if they have nothing to give?" Elias smiled. "You gave us something already."
"What?"
"Trust." A world reborn. Years passed. Slowly, painfully, the planet changed. Green returned. Oceans deepened. Skies thickened. It wasn't the same world. It never would be. But it was
alive.
The day came when the first of them stepped back onto their homeworld. Elias stood beside her at the landing site, the same place where they first met.
But now,
it was covered in growing life. She stepped forward, her light brighter than he had ever seen it, stronger,
whole.
Behind her, hundreds followed, not broken, not desperate,
alive.
She turned back to him. "We do not know how to repay you." Elias shook his head. "You don't."
She paused.
"That is not how our kind works." Elias smiled. "Then maybe it's time to learn something new." She studied him. "What do humans call this?" Elias looked out over the horizon. "The new world, the second chance," and said, "Home." The ending. Years later, the story spread across the stars, not as a tale of conquest, not as a warning, but as something rare, a reminder of what humanity chose to be, the species that arrived at the edge of extinction and refused to profit from it, the ones who were offered everything and instead gave something back, a future, a place,
a home.
And on a once dead world, now thriving with light and life, a monument stood, simple, human-made, with words etched in both languages. "You were never ours to take. You were always meant to live." And beneath it, two figures stood side by side, one of light, one of flesh, neither bowing, neither owning, just existing.